A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for 21st of February 2025. So in today's news analysis, we are going to talk about the following news articles. First of all, do you think that Lokpal should cover the constitutional authorities like High Court judges? Lokpal itself is a statutory authority. So we are going to talk more on this. Secondly, Information and Broadcasting Ministry, rather than tightening the news around the YouTube and other social media platforms, open to everyone, but it is now targeting the OTT platforms for their obscenity and profanity in the light of Ranveer Allahabadia Samir Raina case. So it is like a misdirected arrow, I can say. We'll talk more on this. What is the gated content and gate regulated content? We are going to talk about that. Now, coming to this, Article 101, Clause 4, Amrit Pal Singh, a name which is known for Khalistani, pro-Khalistani activities. So, can the MP be disqualified for being absent from the house for too long? What is the procedure to apply for the leave? That we are going to talk about. Article 101 says that if a member of parliament remains absent from the house for 60 consecutive days, for 60 days, right? Barring the 4 days of leaves, or you can say the holidays that are there, barring those days for which there are holidays for 4 consecutive days. So what is the procedure? Can he be disqualified? How the disqualification happens in the light of the leave of a member of parliament or absence of the member of the parliament? Now here, how RBI is trying to arrest the depreciation of rupee. RBI has been buying the future, selling the future dollars in the future market so as to arrest the decline of the rupee in the light of appreciation of the dollar. So what are the reasons why RBI has purchased around $67 billion worth of rupees vis-a-vis the dollars? So we are going to talk more on this. This one, disability provisions. Okay, now in the law DPDP Act, the Data Privacy Act that we colloquially call it, in this act, what is happening is disabled people have to, like the kids, like the adolescents, like the infants, anybody under the age group of 18, they need the parents' consent. Okay, disabled people, even if they are adults, they would require the consent of their guardian in order to access some online content, in order to assert their DPDP Act. So this is against the convention, the United Nations Convention for persons with for the persons on disability rights. So we are going to talk more on this. The small clipping that is there is important. Can the disabled be equated to, or can they be compared with, can they be clubbed with the infants or adolescents? Right. So this is like the rights of disabled matter. Even though India has got its own right of the persons with the Disability Act 2016, but now clubbing the disabled people under the DPDP Act is something too naive. Now coming to the other news articles, these are the articles that we are going to cover in a sequential manner. One by one, Supreme Court stayed a Lokpal proceeding in which Lokpal on 27th of January declared that High Court judges in case of instances of corruption are going to be under the jurisdiction of Lokpal because they are also categorized as public servants by the Lokpal. Even though India had a long history, Anna Hazare movement, Anna Hazare protest, Kejriwal, Kiran Bedi, so many people protested to get the Lokpal Act enacted. After that, it became Lokpal. So that means there was a lock for too long on the institution of Lokpal. Government was not able to find eligible candidates, eligible people to be appointed as Lokpal. Then Lokpal did not get its own office. And finally, when it got office, it celebrated the Lokpal Foundation Day on 16th of January recently. Yes, 2025. Okay. But after foundation, it is now groping in the dark for finding the definition of public servants. Now, it says that judges, if they are indulging in the instances of corruption, an additional High Court judge persuading another additional district judge for giving the lenient treatment to a company, private sector company, whose lawyer the additional High Court judge at once upon a time was, for a lenient treatment for a judgment in favor of that private company whom the High Court judge served as a lawyer. If he is indulging in this kind of a lobbying, in this kind of a liaising for some private sector entity, can the judge not be investigated by Lokpal? The problem in India is corruption instances are there, but there are power circles. Judges will protect themselves, and sometimes they will go on to the extent of saying that all other authorities cannot appoint judges, cannot prosecute judges, cannot investigate judges. Only judges will appoint judges, only judges will investigate judges. Right. So this is the state of affairs, even though theoretically Lokpal, it seems that Lokpal does not fall within the institution, the High Court judges do not fall within the institution of or within the definition of public servants as was envisaged by the Lokpal and Lok Ayuktas Act 2013. As many of you must be knowing that Lokpal and Lok Ayuktas Act covers the Lok Ayuktas at the state level also. Okay. Lok Ayuktas for checking the corruption at the state level. All the public servants are covered, IAS officers, etc. Okay, but the moot question is, are the judges appointed under, are the High Court judges appointed under Article 214? Are they also covered? This is the moot question here. Okay, so High Court judges are constitutional authorities, whereas the Lokpal, as it was enacted, as Mr. Anna Hazare was insisting, it should have been given a constitutional status. Okay, but Lokpal is just a statutory authority. Unlike in the Scandinavian countries, from where we got this idea of Lokpal, the public ombudsman, anti-corruption ombudsman as it is called in the Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Finland, whose anti-corruption rank, I mean the ranking in the corruption index is very low. I mean India's ranking, but their ranking is very high. But we got this idea, we did not implement this idea in the right earnest. Right, UPSC has asked a question, from where did we get this idea? Santhanam Committee on Corruption that was appointed, we enacted CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, then CBI also is there. All these anti-corruption agencies, their wings are clipped like that of a bird, like that of a parrot who's been caged as per the Supreme Court's words. Okay, so CBI has been labeled as a caged parrot. Now, another caged parrot is Lokpal. It cannot institutionalize cases without the approval of CVC in certain cases. Right? So many such cases are coming up. Now, let us study this issue. I have given you an overview how the Lokpal and Lok Ayuktas, they were formed. Anna Hazare movement, constitutional status was demanded but not given. Now, the crux is, the controversy here is public servants. What do we mean by public servants? Okay, now Lokpal is headed by the retired judge of the Supreme Court. The present chairperson of the Lokpal, who happens to be the former judge of the Supreme Court, says that Supreme Court judges are not covered, but High Court judges are covered. Why so? The reasoning that is given, the logic that is given is, he says that High Courts were formed under Government of India Act 1935, okay, and the British norms, British rules, whereas the Supreme Court is the brainchild, or Supreme Court is the original institution which finds the mention in the Constitution of India. So that is the reason that Supreme Court has been declared to be the constitutional authority as per the Lokpal's logic, the present Lokpal's logic, why High Court judges are covered and why Supreme Court judges are excluded from the jurisdiction. So he says these are constitutional authorities. Since the High Courts had a mention in the British era, British India era, all the state High Courts were there, and many High Courts are enacted by the laws of the Parliament. So Lokpal covers the authorities which are enacted by the laws passed by the Parliament, whereas the Supreme Court finds a mention in the Constitution. The High Courts are created by the laws passed by the Parliament, so they are not covered. So they are not given the constitutional protection. So they are covered under the Lokpal. These are not covered. Getting my point? So all these authorities which are not constitutional authorities, they fall within the definition of public servants. So they are the ones who fall within the definition of public servants. Since these are the constitutional authority, Supreme Court judge is a constitutional authority, so he is not covered. This is what the Supreme Court is not able to accept. Supreme Court says this finding of, or this logic of Lokpal is disturbing. That is why Supreme Court has taken suo motu cognizance. That is, on its own, Supreme Court has, just a minute. That is why the Supreme Court has taken the cognizance of the matter and listed the matter at certain future date. So this is the problem here. The order of the Lokpal, chaired by the former Supreme Court judge, was based on a complaint that this is the instance of corruption, additional High Court judge influencing another additional judge and another High Court judge to get the favors for a private company which once happened to be the client of the additional High Court judge. Okay, the other day we were talking about the ad hoc judges, but not as a coincidence, or you can say not as a interlinked phenomena. Additional High Court judges, ad hoc judges, sometimes only they are embroiled more often than not in the controversies alleging corruption, because they have lesser accountability towards the system. We'll talk more about the additional judges on some other day. Now here the problem is definition of the public servant. High Court judges were public servants under section 14. It says that section 14, that gives the definition. Reason is why they are public servants. Unlike the Supreme Court, the Lokpal says, unlike the Supreme Court, the high courts in the country were constituted by the British Parliamentary Acts, Indian High Courts Act 1861, then Government of India Act 1935, and the letters patent of the government of the British monarch. Right? The High Courts predated the Constitution. The Constitution did not establish the High Courts. Article 214 is just the intrinsic. Okay, it was intrinsically derived from the pre-existing pre-independence era acts. So these High Court judges are not the constitutional authorities, which are not covered by the Lokpal. Since they are not the constitutional authorities, they are the authorities which come in the definition of the public servants. This is the problem with the Lokpal's finding, which Supreme Court is not able to accept. Okay, so this is there. Now let me have a look at your comments also. Okay, moving further. No, additional judges and ad hoc judges are different. That is why I said these are the not in the intertwined phenomena. Lokpal order, the High Court judge came within the ambit of clause F of section 14. So you have to memorize this section 14, which carries the definition of public servants. Since this is in news, this can be an area of interest for UPSC prelims. So what is the definition of public servants? It is given in which section? Section is important for mains. Memorization and citation of section becomes important for GS mains paper 2. The police authorities, or you can say the investigating authorities. Okay. So otherwise also on a broader plane, if I were to tell you after completing this news article, I'll tell you where the Lokpal fits in the scheme of transparency agenda of the government. Lokpal has jurisdiction over any person who is or has been the chairperson or member or officer or employee in any body or organization, board, corporation, authority, or company or society or trust or autonomous body established by an act of the Parliament or wholly or partly financed by the central government. So this is the section 14's definition. All right. Any body, any authority created by an act of Parliament or any authority substantially or wholly financed by the government. Okay, even partly financed by the government, Lokpal will have a jurisdiction over that also. But is it written over here that constitutional authorities are covered? No, Lokpal does not have the jurisdiction over constitutional authorities. So the problem is Article 124 is the logical corollary of Article 214. Okay, appointment of High Court judges, constitutional article, here appointment of Supreme Court judges. How can one set of judges, the Supreme Court judges, are constitutional authorities, and the other set of judges appointed under 214, the High Court judges, are not constitutional authorities? This is the problem with the Lokpal's interpretation. But the way we have analyzed, the things that I have said in last 5 minutes, our problem is there is corruption in the judiciary. Who is going to regulate the regulators? Who is going to judge the judges? Parliament? No. Impeachment motion, admission of impeachment motion, in the recent days we saw the mere taking up of the motion in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, is very difficult. Transparency International report says that there is a lot of corruption in the judiciary. In the last 10 years, if you take the names KG Balakrishnan, the CJI, former CJI of India, allegations of corruption were there against him. Okay. So then Deepak Mishra, the CJI in 2019, impeachment motion was brought about against him. The history tells it that no judge has ever been impeached ever since the constitution came into force. Okay, one very close shave incident was in the 1990s when a judge was on the verge of being removed, but he resigned before that. So the process is so very tardy and longish that the judges, they consider resigning at the last moment, taking the retirement at the last moment rather than getting impeached. So this is the problem with the system, right? And judges are also not, since there is a doctrine of parliamentary supremacy and judicial review, so government also is not inclined to remove or take action against any judges, any of the judges. So this is the problem. Judges in India, they appoint themselves. Investigation complaints cannot be discussed as per Article 122. Any of the conduct of the judges cannot be discussed in the parliament. These are the problems. Where is the accountability of judges, right? Now coming to the last part, Lokpal Ashok Kumar Sen was the first to propose the concept of constitutional ombudsman. So any committee or any legal luminary who has ever talked about ombudsman in India, they have talked about the constitutional status to ombudsman. Otherwise, it will be another duplication of Central Vigilance Commission or other investigating agencies, right? Dr. L.M. Singhvi coined the term Lokpal and Lok Ayukta in 1963. In 1960s, the first ARC, the first Administrative Reforms Commission, suggested the creation of Lokpal and Lok Ayukta. Lokpal at the union level to investigate the allegations of corruption, Lok Ayukta at the state level. So you see how treacherous, how strugglesome has been the journey of this institution. 1960s, the idea evolves. First ARC, Santhanam Committee, etc. Okay, then 2012 UPA scams, okay, the then government scams, Manmohan Singh government, etc. Then 2013, finally the act is passed in a very diluted form. Lokpal Act is passed. Okay, let me give you an example of Bolivia from the second ARC report. Second ARC 2008-9, various reports were submitted by second ARC. Okay, so second ARC said, borrowing the idea from Bolivia, in a country like Bolivia, they have 3-tier Lokpal, union level, state level, then at the municipal level. Okay, state level Lokpal for the state level. Municipal level takes care of the corruption at the cutting edge level, at the lowest level. Driving license, you have to pay bribe. Ration card, you have to pay bribe. Changing of the name in the Aadhaar card, you have to pay bribe. Okay, so common people, they suffer from this type of corruption. We are not as much interested in Bofors or Rafale scam. Okay, to name a few. We are not interested in 2G spectrum. All we are interested in is the common services. Electricity connection, you have to pay bribe in order to get the process hastened, in order to timely get the electricity meter installed. Land title deeds, registration, okay, so paperwork, lot of paperwork. So Bolivia has got a very good system of vigilance or anti-corruption over there in the small country. But in our country, Lokpal has been passed. As I said, the lock on the Lokpal, it was stronger than any of the Godrej ka lock, any of the tala that you have come across. So it was till 2019, it was struggling to find an office for itself. Now, having found the office, having found the things, Lokpal is not able to find any reasonable case to investigate, any case worth the while. Anything it pokes its nose into, anything it touches, it gets the electric shock. Sometimes from the government, sometimes from Ministry of Law, sometimes the case is already referred to the CBI, sometimes from judiciary itself. Lokpal, being a quasi-judicial body, is sitting idle. There was a report in the month of January 2025, I will share it on the Telegram, which says that Lokpal has spent crores of rupees even as it started investigations in just 33 or 43 matters, 33, 35 matters. And that too, the preliminary investigation stage they are stuck at. Now, what is the Lokpal fitting into? India's transparency agenda. Quickly, we will deal with this. This will be relevant for your GS mains paper 2. Transparency agenda. What is this agenda? What is this? The cycle that we are trying to complete. First of all, we have right to time-bound delivery of Public Services Act. Okay, any public service that you are applying for, visa, electricity connection, water connection, BSNL telecom connection, driving license, you should get it on time. If not, what is the result available to you? What is the, if you are not getting the exam result on time, so what is the, avenue available to you to raise your concern, grievance? You can seek RTI through RTI application. What is happening? Okay. Then if this is still not answered, what are you left with? You can lodge a complaint with Lokpal if your complaint is concerning the central government, or Lokayukta. Okay. If your complaint is concerning the state government authority. If this is done, you should have Whistleblowers Act to protect you. You are blowing the whistle against any scam going on, maybe Vyapam scam or something. In case you applied for RTI application, that led to the unraveling of the revelation of a scam that was going on. So your life is in danger. So you should get some protection like they get in USA. Okay. This is the overall fulcrum of transparency. We have missing links in it. We have Public Services Delivery Act. We have citizens charters, but these things are not implemented in the right earnest. Every public authority, government authority's office you go to, you find a citizen charter beside Gandhiji's photo. But the only difference between the two is Gandhiji's photo has got a garland on it. Citizen charter, even though it is dead letter of the piece of paper, it is not garlanded. That is the only difference. Both are, respectfully dead. But this is the saga. Now you have to run from pillar to post to get the result of BPSC or NEET, not so neat. This is the problem, right? India's transparency and all. Now, handwriting being bad, rest everything I hope is clear to you. Moving further, institutions fully or partially funded by the government. This is the Lokpal's, screenshot or snapshot. You can download the PDF and can cover from that. Now, uniform vigilance and anti-corruption roadmap. All these points are very, very general in nature in comparison to the concept that I have explained in last 10-15 minutes. Moving further, this is the practice question. You can quickly answer. The selection committee for the Lokpal chairperson and the members include the Prime Minister, the Speaker of Lok Sabha, the Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, the Chief Justice of India, and an eminent jurist. We will talk about the selection concept, the selection criteria for the Lokpal. There are two selection committees, okay? Shortlisting committee and selection committee, the final selection committee. Here we are talking about the final selection committee. Please answer this question quickly so that now moving further, OTT platforms. Amazon Prime, Netflix, okay, they have been in controversy for nude content. The content that is watched in the bedrooms may not be children friendly, may not be adolescent friendly. Parents watching movies in front of the kids, they sometimes have to mute the volume. They sometimes have to switch off the TV as the child is there. Okay, so content rating, that whether it is child compliant, child friendly, it conforms to the age norms. These type of norms have been implemented, have been brought about for OTT platforms since 2021 effectively. Okay, Amazon Prime series, etc., Ashram, these type of series, they had these kind of nude scenes. But right now, the problem is Ranveer Allahabadia controversy has given rise to another problem. Government is now going to, sooner or later, after the Supreme Court's scolding or reprimanding the government is now, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is now again telling the OTTs to regulate their content. Here are a few terminologies which you should be thorough with. Okay, one terminology is age gating. What do we mean by age gating? First thing is ensure age based classification. Since the text is a little hazy, I'm reading it out for you and I'll write it here. So age based classification is already there. Age based classification. Okay, the content classification is there. But what is the criteria that a specific age based classification, that a certain type of age based classification content will be watched by people of children of that age group or above only? That is why the concept of age gating comes into picture. Age gating means you have to have some OTP based criteria or some criteria that you are eligible to watch it. Okay, sometimes you have to check mark in the checkbox that yes, I confirm that I am of the age 18 and above and I am an adult. You have to put in your date of birth on some content on the internet, some social media websites, etc. Right? But what is the guarantee on the Netflix? Everybody's mobile phone is having one or the other OTT platforms applications, Disney, Hotstar, anything, right? Government is now, the logic should be government should regulate the content on YouTube and other social media platforms in the light of the controversy surrounding the profanity, obscenity in the India's Got Latent. Okay, that Samir Raina Ranveer Allahabadia controversy. But government is here misdirecting its arrow on the OTT platforms. That means, I mean, the arrow is misdirected. We need to regulate the content on YouTube. Last time when the government tried to regulate the content, there was a lot of hue and cry. The citizens, the so-called netizens of India who do not go to vote but who will express their opinion on everything through thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay, they were crying hawks that now democracy, the e-democracy is in danger. Okay, this area needs to be regulated, but what is the guarantee that government will not censure the content? Censorship will not happen. Okay, OTT content is one thing. In the film arena, in the Bollywood arena, Central Film Certification Board is there. Any movie before being released has to get the rating, adult rating, etc. But in the online arena, OTT platforms, they don't have such a strict criteria. That is the realm of TV. We are talking about the social media apps like YouTube. They need to be fenced, they need to be regulated, but the regulation should not lead to killing of the freedom of speech and expression. That is the challenge before not the government, we as a country as a whole. When the media, news media has been co-opted by the government, be it any government, any year, not to talk about Congress, BJP, Aam Aadmi Party, anything. Okay, every government which has been in power has tried to strangulate media, has tried to buy out media. We are in the age group of corporatization of media. One or the other channel, news channel is bought by one or the other political party. Okay, talk about NDTV, talk about Z News. We are not going to talk about that. Now, the only free media, news media that we have started to rely on is YouTube. The problem is because of this kind of nudity, obscenity and senselessness being poured out on YouTube, YouTube is also losing its credibility. YouTube as a social media platform, it needs to be regulated, but it need not be strangulated by the government. I hope you get my words. Okay, more on this when the news clipping comes. So here it's a theoretical thing. Let's cover about something about the prelims here. What is the mechanism of governing the content here? How can you raise a grievance? How can you raise a concern, complaint? First level, the publishers of the content. On the OTT platform, if any movie like Kandahar hijack OTT platform, there was a release, okay, on the movie filmed on the Kandahar plane hijack. So level 1 is grievance redressal by the publisher himself, publisher group, okay, whichever company came up with that. Okay, so that. Second is self-regulation, self-regulating bodies within the OTT platform. If the complaint is not resolved at the second level, at the first level, then second level, it will be escalated to Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Level 3, central government oversight will kick in. Okay, if any objectionable content which offends any religion, any political community, or which is not taken, I mean, which offends the conscience of the society in terms of nudity, profanity, or bias in political views, or twisting the history. If that content is not taken down within a time-bound manner, then the complaint can be escalated to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Am I clear? So this is there. Existing IT rules and grievance mechanisms. The IT rules already mandate age ratings for the content on streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Hotstar, Sony Live, etc. Now the problem is with the YouTube content, as I explained it. Okay, scope of advisory. So here content restrictions are there. What YouTube has done, what these social media platforms have done, when you upload a video, the uploader, the content creator is asked that is your video made for kids? When you choose no, it's not made for kids, it's fine. Self-regulation, self-declaration is the way to go. But what if the Samay Raina type of, the nude type of content, we're not talking about, let's not do witch hunting around these 2 YouTubers or 3 YouTubers. It's a phenomena. Okay, people are changing sides in the light of this controversy. Somebody who used to clap on this type of content is now shaming this content. Let's not talk about witch hunting these 2 people or 3 people max. Okay, here the problem is YouTube's algorithm. It rates, it just wants good content, the eye-catchy content, clickbait thumbnails, which can attract more eyes and can get us more clicks, so that YouTube can intersperse the advertisements between these clickbait type of content which is getting more engagement, more watch time. That is the problem of our time. This algorithm is deciding, is shaping our opinion on everything. If it is getting more views, even if the self-regulation, self-declaration is false, the content is not made for kids, right? It's fine, but it is actually made for kids. What is the guarantee that kids are not watching it on YouTube? YouTube is there by default on every phone which is having Android as the system. This is the problem. Okay, so you got my point. This self-declaration criteria devised by YouTube is faulty, is biased in favor of the content creators, not in favor of the content consumers. So these consumers who are browsing the phone every day, 5 hours of watch time, 5 hours of browsing the phone, they are invariably consuming the content which they are being shown on their screen. Even if it is nude, even if it is profane, and even if it is not good for them, considering their age, considering their psyche or anything. Right? So this is the problem. Government needs to regulate this aspect of the social media. What is the criteria? Will the video be taken down? Will the channel be struck down? Will the channel be deleted altogether if this kind of self-regulation is declared falsely by the content creator? So this criteria is content creator savvy, content creator biased rather than content consumer. This criteria is not neutral. That is the problem. On one hand, we are having a democracy which wants this type of a content because there is no neutral news media. Not to talk about Doordarshan, not to talk about the news channels of the day. They are all bought by one or the other political party, or they are showing what is not relevant to the crowd. On one hand, YouTube gives you the autonomy to watch what you want to watch. On the other hand, it is pouring out content like anything. Moving to the next article. So these are the related topics that we are going to cover in the coming days. So as not to have a lengthy video, lengthy session every day, let me tell you the related topics that we are going to cover for our prelims and mains preparation. Every day we meet at 8:05 a.m. Today it was a bit delayed due to some technical issue, but you can catch me live here with this and other issues, other burning topics for UPSC and for your general awareness also, right? In the last few days, we have covered Hicklin test insofar as acceptance of obscenity is concerned. What is the acceptance level of, let me change the color of the pen. What is the acceptance level of profanity, obscenity? What can be labeled as within the bounds of creativity and what is beyond? So Supreme Court has been evolving this criteria from Hicklin test to community standards. And recently to Apurva Arora, in the Apurva Arora case, the contemporary standards, the threshold of what constitutes acceptable, the bar has been set high. obscenity will be anything, I mean profanity or obscenity will be anything which arouses sexual feeling or dirty feeling in the normal mind. In the Hicklin test, obscenity used to be something which arouses the sexual feeling or obscene feeling in the mind of an already perverted mind of an already perverted person who is inclined for such content. Okay, so the criteria, as you can see, has evolved to a higher threshold, unlike previously in the Hicklin test. So government has been applying the Hicklin test. The Supreme Court has been, the judiciary has been applying the Hicklin test for quite a long time. But as the society is getting mature, as the society is becoming modern, quote unquote, the Western model of Indian society, okay, so we are also evolving our criteria. But talking about something as dirty as what happened in that show, not to mention those words, okay, that is even exceeding this level, prima facie. Rest is to be decided by uncle judges. Why do I say uncle judges? You hire senior Chandrachud's son, junior Chandrachud, and he is pleading before the same judges beside whom his father, the CJI, the former CJI, used to sit. Okay, what can we say? Even though the recent remarks by the judges have been very strict, but the final outcome will be the outcome of the case. Will Ranveer Allahabadia, by hiring the son of former CJI DY Chandrachud, be able to go scot-free just because he's hired an expensive lawyer? Number one, that lawyer happens to be the son of the former CJI. That leads us to the uncle judges syndrome. Okay, that is the problem. We'll talk about it on some other day. Now, efforts to stabilize rupee. When rupee is sliding and sliding and sliding because of the arrival of Donald Trump and his protectionist policies. So what happens is there is a futures market. Okay, when you sell dollars to the extent of $67 billion. Okay, RBI has sold dollar on the futures market to the extent of $67 billion, even more than this. If you are selling dollar, that means you are saying that dollar is going to go down in the coming days in the future market, maybe March, April 2025, May 2025. So this leads to a situation where RBI is saying that it is confident that in the coming months, dollar will fall. By doing so, on the other window of this same futures market, it is invariably saying that other currencies, including rupee, will rise in the coming months. Okay, this is the rupee window of the same futures exchange market. This is an international market. Okay, LIBOR, MIBOR, London interbank offer rate, that kind of a market. So here you are mentioning dollar, it is going to go down, down and down in the coming months. Let's say Feb, March, April. Okay, and by doing so, by this action of RBI, it is risking its forex reserves also, right? Because we have limited forex reserves. And if you say that dollar is going to fall, if RBI says that dollar is going to fall, but if actually the dollar rises, RBI will end up burning its forex reserves, the precious little forex reserves that India has got. India has already burnt a lot of dollars forex reserves to curtail to arrest the slide of rupee. If rupee depreciates beyond a certain point, our imports value increases. Okay, our import value, I mean the value of the crude oil, the gold that we are importing, the electronic manufactured products that we are importing into our country, the value, I mean the total outflow of currency goes. Earlier we were paying 84 rupees to a dollar. Now we are paying 86 rupees for importing the same iPhone. Even though we have started manufacturing iPhones in India now, for importing the same Samsung TV or any other imported item like crude oil. So that is the problem. This is the reason that RBI wants to control the decline, the depreciation in the value of rupee. One of the tools for arresting the depreciation in the value of rupee is, guys, this futures market. Based upon the prediction or based upon the logic, RBI says that dollar's value is going to decline. By this action of RBI, it is in a way it is in a way arresting the dollar's rise, not letting the dollar increase further. If you sell it in this kind of a quantity, $67 billion, when $1 billion is equal to 8,800 crore rupees. Okay, so if this does not happen, our forex reserves will go down, as I have just explained. Hope you got this. I hope you got this concept of economy. Okay, the Reserve Bank of India's outstanding net forward sales or future sales for the dollar have surged to roughly 67 or 68 billion dollars as of 31st December 2024. Central bank, as the central bank, the RBI intensified the efforts to arrest the slide of rupee, to stabilize rupee vis-a-vis dollar. The stabilized rupee, the predictable value of rupee helps the exporters plan their sales. Right, so this is there. This marks now compare this to the last year. In the last year, we had hardly sold $541 million. Just $1 million. Now $67 billion. Okay, so here see, $1 billion is equal to $1,000 million. We did not even sell $1 billion last year. This year we have sold $67 billion worth of dollars in the future, in the forward market. Got it? So this is the economy news article, more of the concept part. Forward dollar sales, strategy by RBI to manage the value of Indian rupee in the foreign exchange market. So this is different from the spot market. Spot market means market of today. What is the prevailing value of rupee today vis-a-vis dollar? But in the forward market, when you buy a lot, you are hinting the other players, other bankers, other countries that RBI as an entity, one of the major buyers of dollar, does not expect dollar to rise further. Other countries will also start betting in the same manner, thereby leading to a slight depreciation or at least the stabilization of dollar. If the dollar stabilizes, the value of rupee vis-a-vis dollar also stabilizes, right? Now, moving further, this is taken care of. You can quickly go through it. My part is explanation. I will emphasize on the explanation. Text will remain there on the slides. I will read only that part of the slides, only that part where I'm emphasizing, where I feel reading that line out will help you further enhance your understanding, guys. Okay, so this is there. Now, don't do this chit chat in the comment section. I ask you a simple question. Is RBI a statutory authority? If so, under which act was it created? Okay, how much shareholding does government have in RBI? Does government have any shareholding in the RBI? Yes or no, you have to answer. Is RBI a statutory authority or not? You have to answer this. Now, Amritpal Singh's concern justified. There is an MP from Khajur Sahib, Punjab, who's been arrested in the case of sedition, instigating the Khalistani movement. Accordingly, he's been arrested. Now that he is arrested, he is unable to attend the sittings of the parliament. As a member of parliament, he should attend the sittings of the parliament, but he is not. Since he is not attending the sittings in the parliament, okay, he might be disqualified from the house as per Article 101 Clause 4. So what does Article 101 say on the disqualification of a member of parliament in the light of his prolonged absence from the house? As a school guy, as a college guy, you need a bare minimum attendance, right? Similarly, as members of parliament, since they are the representatives of the people, they should also attend the sessions of the parliament so as to espouse the cause, so as to raise the grievances of their people. But if you are jailed, you are criminal. Not only this Amritpal Singh, any tainted politicians, if they remain absent from the house for a prolonged period, they are not fulfilling their duty vis-a-vis their the populace, vis-a-vis their electorate, right? So here, the pro-Khalistani leader and independent MP from Punjab, who has been in jail since April 2023, has moved the Punjab and Haryana High Court after missing proceedings in the parliament for 46 days. Okay, his petition has thrown light on Article 101 Clause 4. So this becomes important for our prelims preparation. Okay, of the Constitution, according to which a seat in either house of the Parliament may fall vacant. If he is holding a seat in Lok Sabha seat may fall vacant, or Rajya Sabha. The rule of 60 days is the same. Okay. If he is absent for the 60 consecutive sittings without permission, whose permission? There is a committee on Parliament's absence, or parliamentarians approving their leaves. Okay, committee on Parliament's leaves. So that committee, you need to, as an MP, he needs to apply to that committee for sanctioning his leave. If in case the leave is disapproved, so he is at the mercy of the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, the house he belongs to. So if for a period of 60 days as a member of the either house of the Parliament is without permission of the house, absent from all the meetings thereof, any meeting, all the meetings, okay, the house may declare his seat vacant. House may declare, not the speaker. So what does it mean? House will have to vote. That is why this clipping, this news clipping says he is safe, because house will have to vote upon it. Okay, even though he is an independent MP, so neither BJP nor Congress will support him. They will vote against him. But taking up that vote is also a big matter, is also a time-taking matter. Okay, so in computing the period of 60 days, no account shall be taken of any number of days, when 4 consecutive holidays are happening. Diwali, Holi, or anything. Okay, so for any days, if there are holidays which are less than 4, they will be counted in the number of days. Okay, so this is there. The 60-day period refers to, so this means 4 holidays also includes the period of adjournment sine die. Okay, when the house is in recess, shall not be counted. So the 60-day period refers to the sitting of the house alone, rather than all the days, rather than the calendar days. They refer to the days on which the Parliament was actually meeting and sitting. Okay, so here case of Samajwadi Party MP Mr. Atul Roy has also been mentioned here. When he was absent, he applied to the house. He said that he is not getting the bail since he's been arrested, so he is unable to attend the house. Kindly pardon him, kindly grant him leave. His matter was accepted, right? Probably because he belonged to a political party. So in this cases, political party, belonging to a political party, being the member of a political party sometimes saves you. But theoretically, coming to the Constitution, Article 101, 60 days, period of 4 consecutive holidays, including the sessions, including the recess of the House, including the adjournment days, shall not be counted in calculating the period of 60 days. So that means 60 consecutive days. Now, how does an MP seek permission? MP has to write to Committee on Members' Absence. Okay, this Committee on Members' Absence will take the cognizance of the matter. This parliamentary committee deals with this issue. If the committee approves the leave, then fine. If the committee disapproves the leave, then the member might be rendered disqualified only after the house has voted upon his disqualification. Okay, a member seeking permission which prepares a report on the application and sends it to the house concerned. So if the MP belongs to Lok Sabha, this committee will prepare a report, and then this committee will send this report to the house. Ultimately, the house will decide whether he needs to be disqualified, his seat needs to be declared vacant or not. Okay, the report also mentions the committee's recommendations on the number of days for which the leaves can be granted. Okay, so this is there. Now the problem here is, I mean, he is safe because ultimately the matter here will be at the mercy of the house. House will have to vote upon it. My problem with this news issue is, why are we paying them the salaries? Shouldn't there be salaries on the basis of government employees, private sector employees? An MP's salary on an average is 1,76,000, 1 lakh including all the allowances that they get. So you are in jail or you are running your own private affair. There are some MPs who are lawyers in the court. On one hand, they are getting the court fee, I mean the fee from the client who hired them as a lawyer to advocate for their case. Okay, on the other hand, you have some private Jindal, etc. They are running their factories, not coming to the parliament. On the other hand, you have actors, Neta Abhineta, they are also not coming. So we are paying them the salaries. That is a drain on the taxpayers' money. By the way, I ask you a question. How the salaries of parliamentarians are increased? Simple question. What was the last act passed on it? Do they have any salary commission? Do they have any pay commission for the increase in the parliamentarian salary or not? Okay, so this is the matter. Second, another issue on the drain of the taxpayers' wealth is an MP elected once will get the pension once, but an MP elected 10 times will get the pension for 10 times. Okay, so if you are in the parliament, if you serve for 4 days, you are entitled to pension accordingly for whole of your lifetime. So this is another problem. Why are we paying our MPs the salaries even as the state, in the state the suicides are happening? Not the MPs, the MLAs. Members of legislative assemblies in Punjab, in Maharashtra, they get their increment in the salary, increase in the salary, even as the state's GDP is going down, even as the farmers are committing suicide, even as the people are not happy. These are the issues about the accountability of the parliamentarians. Not to talk about the criminalization of politics as of now. Some other day, this issue. We have been taking up this issue also. Now coming here, DPDP Act. Is being a disabled equal to being an infant? I'm not saying this. This is the crux or inference you can draw from the DPDP Act. That is, persons with disabilities will be treated as equivalent to infants. Anybody under the age group of 18 years. Their consent will not be taken as their consent until they get the stamp of their guardian. Okay, no doubt there are some differently abled people, disabled people who are mentally retarded. For them, this norm seems to be fine. But carte blanche, overall, as an umbrella term, if you say that all the differently abled people, they have to be represented by a guardian. Okay, the Digital Data Protection Act that we have. Okay, so under that, the rights of the persons with disabilities act, the rights of the persons under this rights of the persons with disability act are being negated. This act says that they have a right to decide for themselves. Okay, but DPDP Act, Digital Data Protection Act that we have in India, it says that they can only give their consent on the digital content that we just talked about only if their guardian approves of it. Okay, that is the norm that we have for people who are under the age group of 18. Even if there is a disabled or differently abled person, with due respect, if he is above the age of 18 years, he cannot express his consent while downloading anything, while creating a Facebook account. Why is this so? And this negates the concept or the rights given to the persons under the United Nations Convention on the persons with disabilities. Okay, on the rights of the persons with disabilities. So this is, let me come to this side, UNCPRD. You need to note this down. Okay, this caters to your GS mains paper 1. Okay, the definition part caters to GS paper 2, but this is, since disability is a social issue, the legislative aspect of it is the polity issue, GS mains paper 2 issue. Okay, the social problem, disability, so it can be mentioned in both the papers. Okay, now remittances, this is a small news, we'll cover it some other day. I mean, small yet technical. Remittances that Indians are allowed to send abroad, okay, for their medical treatment of their relatives, etc. This remittance has gone down. Under the liberalized remittance scheme, RBI allows the Indians to send some money abroad to their people, be it in US, Europe, etc., or in Dubai, anywhere in the world. Okay, now this has come down. Why Indian citizens, Indian residents are not sending money to their relatives abroad? Because maybe the reasons are decline in the their own income in India. This could be one of the reasons. Then other reasons are the reasons are mentioned here. I'll quickly read them out for you, otherwise it's a factual news only. First of all, liberalized remittance scheme. It is a facility provided by Reserve Bank of India that allows resident individuals of India to remit a certain amount of money abroad without needing prior approval from RBI. Otherwise, what the FEMA says is, Foreign Exchange Management Act says is, any outflow of dollar up to a certain amount does not require approval. But beyond a certain amount, if you're sending any money outside India, okay, you have to take RBI's approval. But since citizens have their medical requirements, some medical treatment is required abroad. For example, if Yuvraj Singh goes abroad and wants to get the chemotherapy done for cancer treatment, does he require the approval every time? For small things, no. He should not be made to apply to RBI, right? So this is called liberalized remittance scheme. Right, under the liberalized remittance scheme, the limits have been revised, but people are not sending as much money for the last year. Reason is the decline in India, the increase in the medical expenses within India on their near and dear ones. That is why they are not sending the money, as much money abroad as they were sending earlier. So this was all in today's news analysis. For rest of the news articles, stay tuned on the Telegram channel. PDF will be shared in a short while from now. Whatever little editing is required, after that we'll share it. After putting in more MCQs and more mains questions, we'll share the PDF in a short while from now. So those of you who are joining us for the first time, you can catch me live here every day at around 8:15 a.m. with this type of a news analysis where we are covering GS mains paper 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes case studies are also there on railways, stampede, etc. Plus the prelims oriented factual aspects are also highlighted in the yellow text or green text. My emphasis here will be to explain the issues, to decode the issues, so that you get to see every aspect of the issue. Rather than just reading the news, we analyze the news over here. So if you are someone who is preparing for not just prelims but also the mains, why? Because the present era of the UPSC examination requires you to have holistic knowledge. I will demonstrate you someday that the questions that have been asked in the prelims at one point of time in, let's say, 2014-15, same question appeared in the mains in 2019, 18, 19, 20. Why? Because ever since 2013, the pattern has changed. Since the pattern has changed, the longish questions, the sentence format of questions, which seeks to check your clarity on the topic, understanding, conceptual clarity, analytical ability, the same level is tested in the mains examination also. So that is why don't artificially divide or dissect your preparation. Okay, that I'm preparing for prelims, PT 365, then I'll prepare for mains after clearing prelims. That era is gone now. You need to synergistically prepare for both the levels of examination, even as you are reading the newspaper, Lakshmikant or anything. That's all for the day. This was a small tip of the day for today. Wish to see you again. Thank you. At around 8 a.m., 8:15 a.m. tomorrow, we'll meet again. Yes, PDF will be shared in a short while from now. Thank you guys. It was really a pleasure teaching you all. It keeps me updated, the daily news analysis. It helps me enrich my course on polity that I'm taking at the PW under the Titan batch. So likewise, I'll keep you posted on the Telegram with the current affairs updates and some MCQs also. PDF Sanjita, you can get the PDF from Telegram channel. The link of the Telegram channel is given in the description box of this video. Okay, for those of the newcomers. Thank you guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Thank you.